next season, knock on wood, I don't want that to happen. But let's just hypothetically speaking, say Giannis gets hurt next season and misses, 60 games or something like that, and now Milwaukee's in the play-in. Giannis comes back that last stretch of games. They go on a run. They're in the play-in. Let's say they're the 7th seed. They win. Really, they're the best team in the East. They just lost their best player, and now Giannis is back, and they just run through everybody in the playoffs. That's probably what
the Clippers tried to do. I mean, don't get me wrong. Without actually, I don't want to say these guys aren't really injured, but you look at Kawhi Leonard and that whole situation. I feel like it's a little bit of padding, and it's hey, we're injured most of the season, and then playoffs, we're good, we're healthy, we're ready to go. It's
that's what the Lakers are trying to do. I mean, not this year. I could see the Lakers kind of doing that next year.
Next year makes sense because you have a roster that can actually carry you and at least get you into a play-in spot.
Yeah, my guess, and this is something that I should actually make a video on this because it's something that I've thought about for a while too. And this is an argument for Malik Beasley. So many people want the Lakers to not play Malik Beasley, or start somebody else, stuff like that.
Start the Lakers over Beasley.
Yeah, but in general, we could talk about that in a second. But it's just a point that I want to make real quick. Is that something you got to keep in mind? Rob Pelinka and the Lakers are evaluating these guys also, right? They traded for these guys to see are these guys good enough, right? So let's say Malik Beasley doesn't turn it around. Let's say he continues to play this way, right? Well, you have his $16.5 million contract next year. You got Mo Bamba's $10 million contract next year. You got several of these tradable contracts. You have 2 draft picks. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if the Lakers try to tweak something to go get another guy, and I'm not talking about a Kyrie or something like that. Could they? Maybe. But I'm saying whatever. Let's say Miles Turner, right? You could take Beasley's contract and attach a first round and a second round pick and go get Miles Turner and add Miles Turner to this team. I'm just throwing names out there that people know. I'm not saying that they will. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying the Lakers, this is also an evaluation process to see what do we need for next year also. We got the core guys, right? You got LeBron, you got AD, you got D'Lo, you got Vanderbilt, right? You got Reeves, you got Christie now.
Yeah.
You'll probably keep Dennis Schroeder. So you got 7 to 8 guys that you're guaranteed to keep next year. But you have several contracts that now you could look at and go, okay, well, out of these guys, are we keeping any of these guys? If not, what's available in the offseason for us to get? Maybe you go and get a DeMar DeRozan, right? Maybe you take Beasley and Mo Bamba and go get a DeMar DeRozan, and now you have D'Lo, DeMar, LeBron, and AD, right? Yeah. And it's now you might be the best team in the league, something like that. So, just a thought. But sorry, what was the point? Again, I was just throwing this out there. I'm not saying that they will do that. I'm not saying they will anything like that will necessarily happen. But this is a lot of just evaluations in general. Yeah. But what was the point you were trying to make?
No. We were just talking about the whole plan, and I feel this is the team that you could do that hypothetically, right? You could have AD sit, you could have LeBron sit and be injured for the majority of the season, right? Because this team alone, without the 2 stars, with D'Lo, with those guys, could carry you potentially to a play-in spot. I mean, obviously, you're gonna have to play AD and LeBron, at least 20 to 30 games, at least. Because I mean, without it being too hey, obviously you're just loading guys off into the playoffs, but this team alone could do that. I would say. I don't know about you. I don't know what's your take on it, but if you remove AD and LeBron for this team for the majority of the season, minus, like I said, that's just minus 30. Let's say AD sits 30, LeBron sits 30. I think we still make play in. You know what I mean? And I think it gives them enough rest to be able to now, but then again, they have to do it in a way that, the league doesn't raise an eye and, give us a slap on the wrist for it. Cause I know it's frowned upon, but like I said, some teams kind of get away with it, but that's just,
well, I mean, when you have the depth and the talent, so next year, right? Like, for example, like if this team played from the beginning of the season, even with all the LeBron and AD injuries, we'd probably still be a top 4 or 5 team. Like,
yeah, because how many games did they miss this year? Honestly,
I mean, between LeBron and AD, they've missed like 60, like collective. So, but like we were able to stay afloat with a far less team, and you would have had an entire training camp, an entire offseason, entire training camp, entire preseason to kind of figure it out. So next year, like you can kind of load manage LeBron and AD and get away with it next year because your team is just going to be more balanced. And then, like I said, you can make whatever tweaks you need to make, right?
Yeah.
Again, like, you know, you do, like, if maybe the Pacers trade all of a sudden is on the table again, right? And maybe you could take Mo Bamba and Beasley and package that with, you know, both your first round picks and go get Miles Turner. Imagine now at this point with this roster, imagine having D'Lo. You have Buddy Hield, you have Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Jared Vanderbilt, and Miles Turner. Like you're already the number one defense right now. Imagine if you added Miles Turner to them. You know, you could have LeBron play point at that point again.
That's a high scoring offense. Hey,
dude, that'd be insane.
Guess what Ham's gonna do? Schroeder, D'Lo, and like if you got like Buddy Hield or something like that, you know, just
again, most like I'm not saying it will happen. I'm not even saying I want it to happen. I'm just throwing out a potential. Like, my point is with saying that is the Lakers are going to have the rest of this season and hopefully the playoffs to really look at this team, evaluate this team, and go, okay, well, what do we need? And it might not even be through a trade. You might not even have to do a trade. You know, maybe you have your tax pyramid level, you have your, you know, you'll have your biannual. Maybe you could find a guy or two in that area that can come in. I mean, I don't really know how many impact free agents are going to be available next season, but you never know. You might get a guy or two on that team. And, you know, the point is that, like, you know, it gives you an opportunity to evaluate guys, see what you need, and then make adjustments accordingly in the offseason. And if something does come up that does make sense, you know, again, like I said, the Pacers, like, if that becomes an option again, then you can address it and say, okay, well, maybe that's the thing we need, you know, or like I said, a DeMar DeRozan, or, you know, maybe a Trae Young becomes available or something like that. You know, maybe there is something. You know, I mean, there's I mean, I'm not saying any of that stuff will happen, but I'm saying it's not out of the realm of possibility. Every offseason, you start seeing all these guys that all of a sudden become available and everybody wants to see. So the Lakers, the beauty is the Lakers, at worst case, put themselves in a position to actually have assets that they can now take and make moves. Where, you know, if they didn't make these trades, Russell Westbrook falls off. You don't have any really tradable players. Right. But now you have Beasley. You have, you know, Davon Reed has another year next year. You have